I may or may not be at part 6. I think that's wrong, but I think I'm at part 6 of On the Spot. Somebody I'm sure is following this a lot better, and it's a lot easier when I've already uploaded the other ones and they probably say the distinct number at the top as to which one this is. I am obviously just continuing along one master video, so I think I'm at part 6, so let's resume with On the Spot. Thank you again to everybody who has sent Spot a very lovable, delightful, informative, thought-provoking question. Let's resume where we left off. Next question comes to us from Johnny Blues, SXE Blues. He says, OTS, you are a solid action figure and collectible reviewer who always highly informative and entertaining. Well, thank you very much, sir. Thanks for watching, guys. See it? No, there's more. But if you were ever given the chance to be employed as a creator designer of the kind of action figures and collectibles you review, even if it meant giving up reviewing, would you want to do it? And what type of stuff do you wish you had a say in the creation stages of? That's actually a really good question. I'd like to think maybe I could do both. I suppose really if I was employed as a creator or a designer of something like an action figure or a collectible, it probably would take it would take more of my time away from doing what I'm doing right now. You know, I generally do this, what you're seeing right here, or reviewing or, you know, talking about a figure. I usually do that during the weekends where I have more time available. I know sometimes when you see so many videos that I upload, you probably think that I'm recording these all the time, but the fact is I unfortunately review more than what I upload at one given time, so I'm always trying to play catch up to what I've already done. But if I was to be a creator or designer of anything, I probably would be a little more preoccupied doing that than I would be able to do this, what you're seeing right here. I probably would give up the reviewing only because I couldn't balance out the two. I would try to find a way to do both because I still love doing this. So I'm going to put me down for I would still try to make efforts made to continue this. If given the chance where I was unable to do it because I was doing more of the creative and designing, I would unfortunately give this up. But I would like to think that I would make valid, you know, real conscious efforts to try to maintain doing this as well. Yeah, he says, and what type of stuff do you wish you had a say in the creation stages of? I would love, and they're not watching, I mean, by no stretch of the imagination are they actually watching, but I would love, if NECA was watching this, I would love to work for like a NECA, some company that can pick up new licenses for properties that maybe I grew up with as a kid, and just being able to sit down and design, sit down in a boardroom and think out, okay, how could we make this figure? What should he be made with? You know, what accessories could he come with? I would just love to see the creative end of it. I don't protest to be any sense of a sculptor or painter or anything like that where I would want to be on the ground floor actually sculpting those figures because they would look like a dog's breakfast. But I would love to be in a boardroom sitting down and actually designing out the concepts for some of these figures. I think that would be fascinating, especially based on properties that I followed as a kid. You know, with NECA now doing the Nightmare on Elm Street franchises, the Friday the 13th franchises. I mean, I would love just to sit down and just brainstorm with someone over, part 5, Jason, which I'm hoping we will get Roy at some point, fingers crossed. I'm hoping that, I could sit down and say, oh, okay, well, Roy should get, garden shears, or he should get, I don't know, an alternate mask with the mask peeled up, or something along those lines. I think that would be just such a cool thing to see it from the start of conception to the very end process. I would love it. Would it ever happen? Likely no. Also, as a side note, you guys may or may not know this, but back in the day, I used to, Nelvana was a cartoon, they still are, a cartoon studio here in Canada, And actually, this guy on several occasions used to sit in with the production designer and production director, I should say. And I used to pitch cartoon ideas to her. So I've always really wanted to be in the creative end stages of getting an idea off the ground. Sadly, none of my ideas ever really got off the ground and actually had anything made from it. But I'm always full of ideas, and I would love to be able to channel those ideas into something. So hopefully that answered your question, SXE Blues. I know it's very long. I just ramble on all over the place. Next question comes to us from Mr. Joey 1998. Hey Spot, my question is, have you Simpsons Hamilton status? What? Have you Simpsons Hamilton statues? I don't think I have any of the Hamilton statues. I don't know if those are the same statues that made the houses, because I did review the Simpsons houses at Halloween. By the way, I am planning on selling those, so if anybody is at all interested in the Simpsons Halloween houses, I have Flanders house, the Simpsons house, and I also have the Quickie Mart. So if anybody is interested, PM me, send me a message, we'll work something out. So let me know. And have you Far Cry 3 for the PlayStation 3? I don't actually have any of the Far Cry for the PlayStation. Next question comes to us from Martin. He always sends me questions. I can never pronounce his name properly. Martjin446 says, OTS, hello Spot, how are you? Are you excited for God of War Ascension? You know it. I know that you are a big fan of God of War. Yes, I am. I am very excited for God of War Ascension and love the God of War series. Same with all the Assassin's Creed games. Those two are my favorite game sagas of all time. So that's my question for this time's On the Spot. Looking forward to your next awesome and great videos. Greetings. I am very excited for the God of War Ascension. I never did get the God of War deluxe set. But I think it came with a statue, and it was in a like a steel tin edition, and it came with all the games, including the PSP games. I never did get that. I still want to get my hands on that. But I am really excited. Assassin's Creed, I only really rented the first one. I probably would get into it if I played more of it, but I just never got into them. My problem is I buy a game, and I just never really put time into it. I might play it for like an hour or two, and then everything else occupies my time that I just never get around to gaming. And I really want to change that. I really do. Next question comes to us from Biohazard Jackson 63. That is an awesome name. Reminds me of Action Jackson, if anybody remembers that movie. OTS, has your knife ever broken on you when you most needed it? And which do you prefer, X-Acto or another brand of knife? I am impartial to really any specific brand of knife. It just so happens that the two knives that I use they just happen to be X-Acto, but I probably could use any real knife. I've had a couple of knives break on me when I've needed them. Generally they're pretty good though. Generally they're pretty good. I don't use knives all the time, specifically just in my reviewing. I might have knives around the house when I'm cutting boxes and stuff like that have broken on me when I needed them. Generally during a review, I'm pretty good. I was going to say, well, I'll say it anyways because I'm doing it on the spot. What could possibly happen now that I've said that? But so far, I haven't had any injuries, despite the fact that I use my knives during my reviews. No injuries. Hopefully I haven't jinxed it by saying that. But by the way, also, caution when using a knife. I'm just going to throw that back out at you, some 411. So thank you to your question. Next question comes to us from the Shadow Spider. OTS, hey Spot. How come you don't review the insanely detailed Hot Toys figures? Yes, another question that I get a lot of questions about. The honest truth in the matter is the only reason why I don't review Hot Toys is because I totally forget to get them when they first come out. And then by the time I'm looking to get them, they're always insanely expensive on eBay. Case in point, I've still always wanted to get a Hot Toys Iron Man. I still have yet to get the Hot Toys Christopher Reeve Superman. I still want to get the 89 Batman and Joker, the Batman Begins Batman, you know, the Dark Knight Batman, the Dark Knight Joker. Those are ones I would love to get. Unfortunately, Spot just misses the boat, and I don't jump on it when I have the chance to get them at regular cost. Then unfortunately now, when I go looking on them on eBay, sometimes they're $200, sometimes they're all the way up to $400, and they just get a little bit of this, a little too expensive. If I have the chance to review them, I definitely will. There are some of them I would still love to pick up. If anybody is all interested in selling them to Spot, if anybody can find a good place to get them for a reasonable price, let me know as well. It's not the fact that I don't like them. I don't want you guys to think that. I love Hot Toys, and I think they're super detailed. I just don't jump on them when I get the chance, and then you know, aftermarket prices are always so expensive on them. So that's the only reason. That is the only reason. So just let it be known now. Next question has been, or next question comes to us from Ghostface Kid 101. He says, OTS, Spot NECA has released 2 Part 3 Jason figures and soon to be Part 4. Do you think NECA will be releasing a 6 to 9 and also a Versus and Remake Jasons? And if so, are you going to pick them up? Yes, I am going to pick them up. I don't know if we're going to get a Remake Jason because technically we already did get a Remake Jason from NECA. I don't think NECA will likely go back to any... I don't want to say that. I think they won't go back and do a Versus Jason, and they won't do a Remake Jason because they have really already established those characters and they've made the molds, even though there are older molds. I don't think they're going to go back and do that. The one figure I do think they will go back and do is Part 7. And I only say that because Part 7 is such a crucially designed, well-executed design of Jason that I think they want to keep it consistent with the ones that they're currently doing, that we will definitely get a Part 7. I know we did get a Cult Classics Jason. He's much larger and he's a little more like a statue than anything else. So I think for that reason we will get a Part 7, but I don't think we're ever going to get a Versus or a Remake Jason, just because we kind of already gotten those figures already. Next question comes to us from McDom89. He says, OTS, do you like hockey? If so, what's your favorite team? You won't probably believe this, being that I am Canadian, but I don't follow hockey at all. I know. A Canadian boy who doesn't follow hockey. I actually don't follow hockey at all. I've never watched a hockey game. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I did watch the Olympics. I did watch those hockey games, but I don't really follow hockey, surprisingly. I used to really love basketball. Here we have the Toronto Raptors. I used to also really like baseball back in the day. I don't really watch a lot of sports now. I watch wrestling now. Some people would say obviously wrestling is not a sport, but I do watch wrestling. But other than that, I really don't watch sports. I don't. I'm going to wrap this up here. I think we were at Part 6. Anybody Part 6? I think we were at Part 6. I'm going to wrap this up here just to try to keep these videos relatively short. But stay tuned, guys. Part 7 is definitely on the way. It's right around the corner. Stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys for Part 7.